Let's say it's soon.
Okay. Ready? Okay, so the time's 6:03, and I call the July 26th Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, citizens' comments? There are none. Approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
Okay, so motion made, and I'll second to approve the minutes of the meeting of July 12th. Any discussion on the minutes?
None.
Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The minutes are approved. Correspondence and announcements. All right. So we received a letter. It's to the animal control officer, which I did call. Our animal control officer is NECOG, so I did call them and tell them about this letter. It's just on behalf of Wiley School residents, and they had a noise complaint. The return address was also Wiley School residents, so I couldn't actually find a person to give an answer to. Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to just publicly put it out there that we do have animal control through NECOG. So if people do have complaints, they can surely let us know. But to actually contact NECOG is the best way to get the complaints through. So I did pass it on, and NECOG Animal Control was gonna check it out. So.
Barking dogs?
Yes.
Not on my part of the school, right?
No.
No.
They gave an actual address, and we checked, and that address actually did not have any dogs with a license. So the animal control was going to go and speak to them about getting their dog's license. So.
It's way down by
it's yeah, it's down the other end. And then we received a letter from the Cemetery Association. Dear Selectmen, the Cemetery Association would like to have a final decision on the town-owned plots in Robin Cemetery. If we could have this in writing, it would be nice. Thank you, John Christensen. So this might have been before you were here.
I think so.
So,
how many plots does the town own in Robin Cemetery?
Well, I think it was quite a few, but the problem is we can't prove that they're actually empty. Because they could have, so we can't sell them because we can't prove that they're empty. The town, back before they had like state social services, all the social services were done through the town.
Sure.
And the town was responsible for bodies and of people. So the town had plots. We don't need those plots anymore. And we had gone actually to council, like ask the town attorney about stuff like this too. We can't actually prove that the plots don't have people in them because there was no record of like if
bodies, not people.
Yeah, bodies. That's right. Bodies of people. So
a few people we could put there if you like. Yeah. Sure, will come to mind.
So we decided to just abandon the plots to the cemetery. So we just have to put that in writing that the town is forfeiting whatever plots that are in our name to the cemetery, and they can do with them what they see fit. So.
Now, is that just for the Robin Cemetery, or is
Yes.
the Cemetery Association all the cemeteries?
The Cemetery Association is only for Robin Cemetery. Okay. So I will just type up a letter and say that we do abandon the plots to them, or however the legal way is. I can figure that out. But that was before. That was a fun thing that we had to figure out.
Something new and different.
I think that's all I have. That's not already on the agenda. Oh, we do have to add something to the agenda. we thought we were done with the 457 plan on the agenda, but I do have to add the 457 plan eligibility requirements to the agenda, so.
It should be all town employees, right?
Yeah, well, we gotta discuss it, but we gotta add it to the agenda first, so. If you second that motion.
I will.
Okay. So,
No discussion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we'll add that to the agenda under, I guess we can add it to new business if we're talking about something different. So 457 plan will be, eligibility will be under new. Okay. So board and committee reports, the creation of a building committee. I didn't get anything from the school. Adam at the school wants to create a building committee, but he was gonna either come or send me a letter about it. I didn't get it, so we'll just postpone that to the next one.
What are they building?
It is to see, it's not actually to build anything, it's to like review for asbestos removal and what was the other thing? Oh, to do something to the gym and security.
Well, the when my former wife was at the building committee when they put on the last edition, the original school, which is that wing where the library is, they had abated asbestos at that time.
Right.
And I understood at that time that was all the asbestos that was in the facility.
Yeah.
But this might be downstairs in the furnace area or something.
So we'll know more information when we get it from the school.
Well, you know, we could always put it in the cemetery of all the plots.
Yeah. With those plots to use with hazardous waste.
Encapsulated.
Yeah. The finance report.
I thought we were just doing that first, second Tuesday month.
Okay, it's still on the agenda. So.
I have no reports.
Okay.
There's still money in the bank, I think is what she's saying.
Huh?
Still money in the bank, right?
There's still money in the bank, yes.
Okay.
All right, old business, ARPA funds update.
I guess I could say update, I worked with the Board of Ed today, we've balanced everything we need to balance between us and the Board of Ed, so we're good to go for the end of 2021.
That's good, thank you. ARPA funds update, I have no changes on existing plans, but we'll get to the church later. So ordinance, there's no changes on any of that. Wiley Schoolhouse electrical work, the part did come in.
The box?
Yeah, the box came in. The electrician was there on Friday and did all the outside box stuff, changed all that. He was in there yesterday, working on the interior. So that's going. Beach pond.
Once we get that fixed up, what are they going to do with it? I mean,
They have their meetings there and they open it up for special events, like they have like a Christmas thing and Christmas program. They open it up for the school. They will use it once it's usable.
because when they have those walking weekends, that might be
Yeah,
nice.
that's when they would plan on
I would
doing
even
it.
sit down there for a couple of hours.
Yeah. So the beach pond, Beachdale drawdown update. So I got a notification today.
Skip right over progress with grants.
What?
You skipped right over progress with grants.
Nope, I'm on beach pond, Beachdale update.
That's E. You went from C to E.
No, I'm on D.
That's progress with grants. Progress with grants.
You're on the old one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't.
Did I get in the old one?
I didn't get
I gave
to
July 12th
I'm
last
like, why do we have different agendas?
night. I can't figure out the
the
dates.
same political party, but then the same agenda.
Why are we arguing?
Okay, well, now we've
All
solved
right,
that
well, we
mystery.
can share.
That's fine.
So we are on,
Beach Pond, Beachdale, drawdown.
yeah, which
update.
is D. So I got a letter, an email today that says, there were some concerns with Beachdale, the gate on the Beachdale Pond Dam. So they inspected it and there's definitely a problem with the gate on the Beachdale Pond Dam. So they don't know if they're gonna be able to do any drawdowns whatsoever this year. They have to be able to move that gate. And so now there's a question, they have 2 months to fix it when they're to be in the time window to even do a drawdown. So I'm waiting to hear back if that's gonna happen. So there might not be any drawdowns whatsoever this year.
Well, I knew that they weren't going to do that for Beach Pond,
Right.
but they were going to do Beach Hill.
Right.
Okay.
But they can't do, I think even if they do just Beach Pond, they still have to do a little bit on Beachdale so the water doesn't back up because they're all connected. So if the gate doesn't move at all, then they can't do anything. So she's still to be continued. I just got that this morning.
That's from the state?
Yeah, it's from the environmental review section of the Office of Planning and Program Development of the Connecticut Department of Emergency Management Protection. So
Would those be the same people who would ask about inspecting the footings of the dam
at Beach Pond, I can send it back to her. She oversees all that, and the planning part that she's helping with now is the scheduling of the dam drawdown. So I can get back to her and ask her that. So that was for the Beach Pond, the Title VI coordinator. I'm still working on that. Progress with the grants. So we just got something in the email today from the bridge grant, but I didn't read it yet.
We just need to go over the agreement and send the agreement.
Okay, so that's what I sent today. What else are we working on with grants? I think that's it. Yep, that's it right now. We are working on a couple of things. There was a grant that we were gonna try and get in, but we don't have enough. We don't have enough to present to do that yet, so we're working on that.
The new steep one.
Steep grant, yeah, there's a steep grant coming out that we are gonna look to use Kinney Road for, to see if we can get the, Kinney Road is, I think there's not very many residents on it, but it's all state land. It's in really bad condition and a lot of drains on it need to be replaced, so that would be good for the steep grant. They don't usually cover stuff like that, but we think when we present our plan, when we say that it's all state land and state water through the drains, because it's a lot of swamp down there, that they'll give us the money to fix that, hopefully. So that's the plan. So we'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks. The formation of a municipal ISP, Skip's not here. The meeting house RFP, we had the walkthrough scheduled for that on Wednesday. No one came, so we're still we don't know if we're gonna get anything for that, but I'm still working on getting quotes for demolition, and I don't remember what if I talked about this. Yeah, I don't know if I talked about this at the last meeting. I don't even know, but I called a salvage company. He said to call him when we got closer to tearing it down, and he would come out and go through stuff with us. And we have to do some kind of environmental inspection of the building before it can get demolished, so that they know like what the hazards are and what to mitigate. So
asbestos.
Yeah, that's what I said. But it's a state requirement that you have to do this. So we're working on getting that scheduled too.
When do you think, if we cannot find anybody?
We're hoping to have everything in place to start with the demolition, but we need a price estimate because we have to have the town approve the money to do it. So we're hoping with working on the quotes now that we'll have everything in line to be able to do that soon. So it's just a matter of getting the town to approve the fund after everything. Hopefully it'll be soon. Procurement policy, that's what we just had. I honestly haven't had a chance to really go through it with a fine tooth comb yet. So I don't know if you have.
I read the first draft that we had last meeting.
Okay.
I sent it on to the Board of Ed because they would like to review this as well and adopt it the same one we do, so we're consistent.
Okay, so how are we should we meet with them to go over it, or like so we're on the same page with changes?
We have another meeting between Tony and I and all the Board of Ed members, or not Board of Ed, but the finance people, and Adam.
Okay.
So we can discuss it, but we're doing that quarterly, so we probably want to get in touch with him beforehand. So I've sent it to Adam and I've sent it to Darlena.
Okay.
And ask them to put any of the thoughts. I would like to add a section on there of disposal, like when we have computers, old computers, how to dispose of them, that kind of stuff.
Disposal of old equipment.
Right.
Yes, let's not put anything more in the basement.
Yeah.
And it's not just equipment, like just have a standard, like how to get rid of vehicles, like when they have vehicles, we have vehicles, equipment like computer, anything like that.
Vehicles, furniture.
Sure.
Do you have any other things to say? No. All right. Did you have any answer? All right. The new business, the 457 plan eligibility. I don't know really where to start with this.
So
This is the meeting we were in when you were coming down.
the Equitable has asked questions on how to just streamline to better, right now it's really very specific people, like on who's eligible. In the old plan, it's like everybody's named instead of just having a standardized.
Yeah, classification.
So we're trying to better define who's eligible and who's not. So
The older one said like full-time, it was
really
full-time
chunky, like,
employees, and then it named some people, like positions specifically, and that it was kind of all, the older one was even kind of all over the place.
it's
So-
kind of figure out it's difficult to figure out who's actually this includes and who it doesn't include. So we were just trying to come up, I've sent a couple things back and forth, we've gone back and forth 2 or 3 times, trying to find a better way to standardize this. I talked to Tony and got his suggestions today on how they
Norwich does it.
Norwich does it. So we've kind of piggybacked off of some of that and sent that to them, and they
didn't
still
like
have
it.
questions because they didn't like that, so.
Because they,
Who's they? didn't like?
Equitable, because
The plan
where the
administrator.
plan started 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much all the people that are on it, a lot of the people that are on it were on it from 10 years ago, including a position that now they're saying qualified to be on it. Even though this position was getting it from the day it started. And now they're saying it's someone from the transfer station, that's not related, the transfer station's not a town employee or an entity of the town.
Mhm.
So they're saying that person no longer should not be on it or for whatever reasons, and we're like,
Equitable's coming up with these.
yeah,
Okay.
and we were like, they've been on it since it started 10 years ago, and you were the one that was doing that, so
Why is it suddenly an issue
our
now?
problem. Yeah, so,
Where
We
are the paychecks
discussed it.
going?
yeah,
So we discussed it with Tony, and he said that they have enterprise funds, and they have, anybody, if the town contributes to their financials and their payroll, then they're allowed to contribute to the plan,
which we do.
which we argued with Equitable. The town owns the transfer station as a part owner, it's not a full owner, it's an owner, and we have control of their payroll and all the financial stuff.
We handle all that. Sterling just pays us a flat
Yeah.
fee.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
They
said-
just send us a check and we handle everything else. And transfer station's in Voluntown, it's part, contractually owned by Voluntown and Sterling.
Sure.
But they pay, percentage based on population. So we just have to check with the lawyer on what he determines, whether we're an actual owner. If they're
Equitable
disagreeing
said
that
they
we're an
would
owner, then I disagree with that. I think we are an owner.
They said, Equitable said they would do whatever our attorney said.
Well, another 6 weeks, it's not going to be an issue. So I don't worry much about it.
So
But it is something we should kind of.
we had to figure it out, and
Yeah,
we
we-
also had to figure out who we sent a description that we suggested that it include, how do we word it, like
So we're trying to come up with a standardized, based on, we have a lot of employees that work once a year. That only make, 300 this year, but maybe next year they work 10 times and they'll make 3,000. So we're trying to come up with a dollar amount. So we suggested as a dollar amount. We started with 4,000, but we're going through different.
So we have it as
to make it
bargaining
easier.
employees that are members of bargaining entities, selectmen, and town
Any town employee
employees
making over a certain
making
amount
over 10 grand.
a year.
So those are our criteria.
In a lot of retirement plans,
They're not, it's not a retirement plan, they kept telling us that,
yeah, deferred contract. It's frequently they will exclude people who are subject to collective bargaining. So.
Right.
Interesting.
But I don't see any reason to do that.
Yeah.
They just piss people off this one.
Well, this is in their
It's in there.
contract that they get this, so
Yeah.
we can't exclude them. We'd have to renegotiate the contract.
So that's what and then we added what Tony suggested to cover the transfer station.
And that might be something before switching a new plan we need to discuss with the attorney too. You switch plans, you have to have the bargaining unit, I think, agree to that as well. That might be a question we need to ask.
So that's where we are.
Okay.
And we just got off the phone with them, so I forwarded some information to the attorney tonight, so tomorrow when I talk to him, I'll have more of a clue what I'm talking about.
Good work.
I know. Tax refunds. So we have some tax refunds as recommended by the tax collector. We have Jeff Blanchard, 2836, 2 refunds, Annette Eric, total of 5235. Renee Cluin, 25736, Sterling Aquatic LLC, 1250. And there's 2 of them for that, so 13. And that's what's recommended by the tax collector.
We provide the refunds to those.
Okay. I'll second that. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor? Aye. So refunds are approved. Appointments to the Elderly Commission. I have 2, Mary Sullivan and Diana Ingraham would like to be appointed to the Elderly Commission. I've been attending Elderly Commission meetings. They both showed up to the last meeting, and I have no objection to them doing. So.
Move to approve.
Okay, all in favor? All right, they're appointed. Moving right along. All right, so for the Baptist Church ARPA funding, I think we agree that they're eligible for it. I think we just have to figure out if we have the money and how much to appropriate. We just have to go over.
You might have to go through what we've already decided on and figure out.
Because I know,
if you're going to change some projects.
I know for the social worker, I think we put, 20 grand for that?
50.
So we never, at the time, it felt like we really needed one. I don't know if we really still do. That might be something we can consider.
Doesn't the school have a social worker?
They do. So.
And so our social worker would do what?
We were gonna do it with the same, but it was gonna be like the same one, but we would just piggyback on it for the adults and elderly.
Just thinking of the rat house.
I know.
Go and pick up trash.
So, but I don't know really what a social worker would do for that either, so.
Well, the thing about a capital budget is when you spend the money on it, you know what it's going for, and you know it's going to last. And like social workers, valuable as their labors are, I'm sure, at the end of the year and the money's spent, that's it.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing too, because the social worker is more of a reoccurring than a capital project. So it might be something, I don't know.
Well, the ARPA funds isn't just for capital projects.
Right, yeah,
You
it's
can use
for
it other
anything.
stuff.
You can use it to start stuff.
You
So.
need to use it for what's gonna be the most beneficial to the town as well.
Yeah.
Well,
And one of the intents was to help struggling businesses and whatnot in your town. That was one of the reasons for the ARPA money.
Right. But also for emergency, they are an emergency shelter too. So if anything happened at the school and all the kids at the school went over there and they couldn't use the water or flush the toilets, it's kind of
bit of a problem.
Yeah.
A lot of little bottoms.
Yeah. So
I trust you. You'll make the right decision.
So I think we can go through the ARPA funds and propose something at the next meeting if we can move stuff around. I'll talk to Adam and see where he is with the social worker, if he's waiting for us to do anything with that, because we had originally talked about it. I don't know.
So
No social worker for you.
I forgot to say this earlier, but we should be getting the second tranche of the ARPA funds within the next couple weeks. For example, we did sign the paperwork for that.
Great.
All right, so we'll look at that and see. And I think even if it's 20,000, it'll be a huge help for them, even if their cost is more than that. I think that would be a huge benefit for that. So that's my suggestion, is to see if we can find 20,000 for them. Is there anything else? Oh wait, this was a grant thing. I forgot about this one. So under grants, we did sign up to be part of the National Opioid Settlement. So we will get funding in the amount of $1,163 to go towards some sort of opioid program. So do you have any ideas?
Big party.
Do you have any ideas on opioid prevention or anything? I think a social worker.
Social worker.
Yeah. So we have just over $1,000 for that. So that was something like that. And I don't know if there's any other. For the next meeting, we'll put we'll probably have this on the next meeting too, because we have to update our employee handbook. Part of what we're working with for the 457 plan is some of the changes to refer to the employee handbook. And there's a couple of things that that we need to change. Like we have the 457 plan as a, what do we call it?
It's a deferred compensation, not.
But what do we call it?
Pension plan.
Yeah, we call it a pension plan in here, and it's not.
Oh,
No, it's not. That's what Tony's like, well, you have it as a pension plan. We're like, we might have thought that when we were doing this, I don't know. So we have changes to make. And then when I was looking through that, like there's a couple more we need to make, so I can give copies of this to you guys, so.
Good, I never got one.
Happy employee handbook. I will start working on that too. We'll chip at it a little bit at a time. And I think that's all I have. Adjourn?
Move to adjourn?
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh, no executive session?
Nope, not today.
Okay.
I'll probably take that off there, just kind of go like that.